Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Whitney with That Whitney Life. In this video, I have part 2 of my furniture updates. This might be a 3-parter because crazy me in my mind, I'm like, if I'm gonna do one, I gotta do them all. So I'm probably gonna be redoing every piece of accent furniture in my house. So I'm gonna need a few videos to do this. Can't do it all in one. So this is gonna be part 2. These are a little bit funky. But I love them. You can always do a different pattern, different colors, you know, whatever suits you. But I'm just here to inspire you that, you know, you don't need to go out and buy all these new pieces of furniture just to change your decor. So, like I said, the way I've hated it is not for everybody, but it's to inspire you to maybe think outside of the box and, you know, DIY your furniture. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So this coat rack I made out of a headboard about a year ago, and I want to do something different with it. It was pretty amateur. It was the first time I'd ever used a Cricut. It said stay a while on it, but I started peeling that off because I forgot I was going to film this. So it did say stay a while about 5 minutes ago, but I just started peeling it off. So I'm going to take everything off. I'm going to repaint it. Thinking I'm going to do checkerboard up here and then some gold and white, and we'll see. We'll see how this goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the hooks out. They just screw in. I got these off of Amazon. I will link them if I can find them. And this is the first time I'm doing a voiceover on my laptop, so I apologize if the sound is funny. I just hope it goes okay. I'm going to go ahead and give this 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white, and then I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to do a checkerboard on the top and the bottom of this. So I'm just laying out the tape, eyeballing it the best I can in the center, and then I'm using a little piece of tape to space it out to make them even. Make sure you do this part so you don't have to eyeball it. It just makes it so much easier. I'm going to do the exact same thing across it as well, making some boxes, as you can see, and doing the same, spacing it out with that little piece of tape. Now it's time to paint. I'm going to paint all the squares with Folk Art chalk paint in, just called navy blue, and then I'm using Folk Art pure gold, some Rust-Oleum linen white, and then that navy blue, and I'm just putting some, like, putting one side, dipping it in one paint, flipping it over, dipping it in the other, and then just dabbing it with some gold, and I'm just swiping up through those squares. If you feel like maybe there's too much blue or too much white or not enough gold, just feel free to add in whatever you need. It's not going to be perfect the first swipe. I definitely had to go back and add like some more gold in places and tone down the white in some areas, and you know, don't worry about that part. This is the most satisfying part for me. It's just pulling up the tape to reveal the initial pattern. I did have some issues with the paint peeling up. I've been having that issue with acrylic paint. I've done it this way for so long. I don't know what my problem is, but for some reason, the last few projects I've done, the paint peels up, and I don't know if it's because it's like semi-dry, or like maybe I need it to dry completely, but I don't know. I've just been having issues with it. Like I said, I've done this so many times. How many times have you seen me do checkerboard on here? And this is the first time I've been having some real issues with it. So just keep that in mind. So now I'm going to go ahead and paint the details with that pure gold from Folk Art. This was not the easiest feat. I tried to do it freehanded and I got frustrated and I just taped everything off. It did have some bleed through, but it was easy to either wipe off with a damp towel or to just paint over it. So it wasn't that big of a deal. But I'm going to do, if you can see kind of like the inner and the outer creases, like there's one right underneath the checkerboard and then there's one right underneath that. And I did both of those. And then later on, I don't think I showed it, I did the very, very top part of it as well. So I left the 2 posts on it white though. So now you're going to take more tape, and I usually just keep the tape that I used. You don't have to do that, but I usually keep it. And you're going to place it back over those squares. Make sure that they are totally dry. This was drying for quite a few hours. It's best to do it overnight. Just make sure they are totally dry before you put the tape back on. So I'm just going to do the tape both ways like I did before, and the squares on them are going to be, that you're creating, are going to be white because we're going to paint that again. There's the footage of me painting all that, but I didn't really feel like you need to see it because I painted the exact same way that I did before. Now I'm just taking a little bit of that pure gold paint and I am just outlining all of the squares. This is going to cover up a lot of mistakes because, like I said, the paint was peeling up for me, so I did have to touch some of the squares up, though just the ones that were really bad. And then going around it with the gold definitely covers up a lot of those mistakes that you've made. So I like doing this detail. I think it just makes it look more finished personally, regardless, but it does help cover those up. So I have cut out with my Cricut, enter as strangers, leave as friends, enter as in black, and strangers and friends as gold. And I'm just mapping out where I want it right now. And then I'm just going to transfer them on like you do with a Cricut. If you don't have a Cricut, don't fret. You can use stickers, you can use decals, you can use rub-on transfers, you know, whatever. You can even, I will link Glue Guns and Roses channel in the description box, but she has a really great way of taking like a piece of paper and scribbling on with some pencil and then tracing over letters with it, so it kind of leaves an outline of the letters and she just paints it in. I'll leave her channel in the description box. I've never done it, but she does it all the time. I don't think she has a Cricut, so she's a good person to reference from, but So then I took those hooks and I spray painted them with Rust-Oleum pure gold spray paint, and I just screwed those in. I could not get them to focus, but you get it. I just screwed all those in and hung it up, and that was it. So I am loving how this turned out. Like, I'm really loving this. You can see a lot of flaws. I know I'm not perfect. The enter as and leave as is sideways. But all in all, this was 2 days of hard work, and I love it. It made such a change, and I think it looks way more expensive, minus all of the little mistakes. But when you step back, you can't really tell, you know? But I just don't want you guys to be afraid to think outside of the box, and I'm absolutely in love with this. Like, I think it brought so much character to my dining room. So this next one, I have this little hutch that I got from Facebook Marketplace for about $40, I think, $30 or $40. I guess it's not really a hutch, but I don't know what else to call it. It's like a shelf cabinet thing. We have our DVDs in it. I don't know. But I painted it like white with like this slate blue gray backing on it, and then the little doors as well, and I'm going to change that into something more funky. So I'm just unscrewing everything with my little handy dandy screwdriver, and I'm going to paint the hardware, actually including the screws. I didn't want the screws, my goodness, were black, and I didn't want them to be black on top of, that'd be kind of funny, on top of the gold. So I spray painted the hardware gold. I lost that footage, don't know where it went. And I'm using my white linen chalk paint, and I'm gonna do 3 coats over the back of it where it was blue, and then I'm just kind of freshening up the shelves on it. That's not really needed, but I did have a little bit of like brown kind of distressing that I did for whatever reason. It did not look good, and I definitely wanted to cover that up. So covered that up, refreshed it all, gave it 3 coats, and now I'm going to tape everything off. I'm not doing checkerboard on this one. I am doing stripes. So I'm just finding the middle the best I can, and I took a tape measure because I was like, oh shoot, I probably should measure, and your girl was perfect. Like, I didn't even measure it the first time I eyeballed it, and I was just like giving myself a pat on the back. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm awesome. I'm going to use that same navy blue chalk paint in, the same folk art chalk paint in navy blue to paint the stripes. And then I'm going to do the same technique that I did with the coat rack with the navy blue, white, and gold, and just dipping one side of the paint in the blue, one side in white, and then dipping it in the gold and swiping up. And then I also took a little bit more and swiped from the top down, and I did from the bottom up, just so it kind of connected in the middle. It looked more cohesive. So if you notice here, I'm peeling up the paint before I was actually done painting
all the stripes, I found it easier and less paint peeled up. So that's just something to keep in mind. I still had a little bit peel up. You can see on the far left, I just took a little bit of blue paint and fixed it up. And now I'm taking some of that gold and I'm going to outline it again, just like I did with the checkerboard. I want these pieces, they're going in the same spot. So I want them to be cohesive with the coloring. It doesn't have to be cohesive with the patterns. You don't have to throw up checkerboards everywhere. You can do different patterns as long as the color scheme is the same, especially if you add like florals in there. Florals look really good with stripes and checkerboard. So just make sure the color scheme is the same and you are golden. Now I'm just replacing the hardware that I painted gold, and I'm going to put the doors back on, and this piece is finished. Finito. And here's how it turned out. I absolutely love it. I'm not sure if this is how I'm going to keep it decorated, but I got some vases from Joann's that were striped, and I did decide to leave the bottom and the middle shelves, the back of it blank, and I just did like every other one striped. I was thinking that stripes all the way down might be a little bit more bold than I want to do, so that's why I did that. And you know, later on I might go back and add some more stripes. I don't know, but I love how this turned out. It goes so well with the coat rack, and they're in the same room, and I just think it looks so nice. But I'm thinking I want to put some more greenery on there, or maybe some like pampas grass. I love pampas grass, but here's how it looks panned out, and I absolutely love it. It's funky, and it's totally me.
Well, that is everything I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know which one was your favorite, either in the comments or tag me on Instagram. My handle will be in the description box. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. God bless.